Hi guys, Black is here. And this video is for a special fan that left an email and asked me to tell the story, where did I come from? Okay, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, 1971, April 13. I think it was on a Tuesday, 8 p.m. I think. But anyway, it was on a Tuesday. Okay, I grew up with my mother and father. They were married at the time I was born. I have 3 older siblings. I'm the youngest. To say I'm a baby is an understatement. My brother is 21 years older than me. I have a sister that's 14 years older than me. I have another sister that's 13 years older than me. And then here I am. Now my brother has a father, different father. My 2 sisters have the same father, and I have a different father. Anywho, I, grew up, from my understanding, I never went to preschool. My mother raised me, or whatever. When I became school age, they sent me to a private school. So from 1st grade to I think the 5th grade, I was in a private school. After that, my father got sick. Oh, by the way, my father owned a junkyard. Could not write a check, could not read and write, but he owned a junkyard. Easier time back then. My mother, she owned a school bus company. All right. Anywho, so they had money. We didn't live in a rich part of town. To be honest with you, Hightower and Bankhead, I lived on Hightower, 1 block from Bankhead, next to a church. The house is no longer there, but the church is still there. Anywho, I realized it was a bad neighborhood. Growing up, I thought it was a pretty decent neighborhood, but I guess it was. Our house did get broken into at least once. But anyway, so I left private school. Oh, and my father got prostate cancer, and he wasn't able to work for a while, so we weren't making as much money. So that in my grades, when I hit puberty, I always been a freaky kid. I knew what sex was way before puberty, right? But when I got to puberty or whatever, my grades just fell. It's like schoolwork wasn't important. Trying to get into my best friend Pan's, male friend Pan's. Well, I was trying to get a female back then also, but that was more important than schoolwork. But so in 5th grade, they took me out of private school, put me in public school, which was a hellified change. Hellified change. Now, I think I told the story once before. In private school, no one cared about your clothes. As long as you didn't stink and you had clean clothes, no one cared. When I get to public school, people talked about my clothes. Because, not that it was dirty, not that it wasn't clean, because they wouldn't name brand. Going to school was like a fashion show. I think I heard of like Levi's jeans might have been the only company I had ever heard of, Levi's, right? I get to high school, they got Jordache, they got Calvin Klein, they got all these different Guess jeans, all these different kind of shirts. I mean, people could damn near tell what kind of shirt you wearing. Izod had the alligator, Polo had the man on the horse. Colores had a whole bunch of colors. So if you had a shirt with a whole bunch of colors, you probably had a Colores shirt. And I remember the first designer shirt I bought was a damn Colores. But it was too small because they didn't make it in my size. I was a fat kid. School, I hated school because they didn't make clothes for fat people back then. Believe it or not, there wasn't that many fat people like it is now. So they just didn't make clothes for us. You know, Dad and my parents were broke, you know, didn't have the money. And I just hated, I just didn't enjoy school. I remember my first pair of sneakers were Pumas. You know, my parents thought it was crazy to spend $40 or $50, whatever they cost, I don't remember. But they bought me a pair. And it was a good thing they did, because the damn Pro Wings, the Payless sneakers they were buying me, after a few months, the damn sole would start to lean. And my parents thought I was walking on the side of my foot. I wasn't. It was just a cheap ass shoe. But when they bought the Pumas, the sole stayed flat. So from 5th grade up until high school, I was in public school, right? So what else? I went to high school, Frederick Douglass High School, the same school Little John went to, but I didn't know him. I don't even remember seeing the boy. But I think we were the same age too. But you know, I didn't have a large group of friends. I only had like maybe 3 or 4 people I hung out with. You know, I guess you could say I was a lame person. I mean, I kind of hate to use that word, but I was mostly into automotive stuff, you know. I remember, speaking of shoes, people would, you know, come to school and brag about they spent $70 or $100, whatever, for sneakers. I would go to a damn auction and buy a car. You know, my first car I bought myself was a 76 Toyota Corona. I paid $25 for. No lie. I've told that story about that car. What else? When I left high school, I got kicked out of high school, 2nd year, 10th grade. Why did I get kicked out of high school? First of all, I wasn't doing my schoolwork. I'm gonna tell you what I used to come to school with a book bag full of car magazines. I heard another celebrity say, I don't know, was it Jay Leno or who? I heard another celebrity say this. They would come to school with a book bag full of car magazines. And my teachers, all of my teachers, we had an understanding. If you left me alone, I will sit in your class. I won't bother nobody. I'll read my car magazine. I'll stay to myself. Just leave me alone. I won't mess with nobody. And that's what the plan was. Well, anyway, one day I was in school and I don't remember. I want to say her name was Miss Brown. I think it was Miss Brown. But anyway, I was thumping a quarter on the table and she told me to stop. And I forgot about it and did it again. She told me if I do it again, she's gonna send me to the office. So I took the quarter and put it in my pocket so I won't accidentally do it again. Well, some girl near me didn't like me, thumped the quarter on the table, and the teacher sent me to the office. Well, instead of going straight to the office, I stopped, saw some people I knew, and I hung out with them or whatever. And then on the way to the office, I run into Miss Brown and principal. Back then it was Dr. Leslie Butts, who later became the superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools, I think he was making $250,000. It was either $250,000 or $100,000. Anyway, a long time ago. So anyway, she told the Butts, the principal, whatever, that I was thumping the quarter on the desk. And I tried to explain to her, yes, I did it the first 2 times, but I didn't do it the last time. It was a girl. Of course, the principal didn't want to believe me. So I said these exact words. I said, let me put my hands in my pocket so y'all don't say I knocked the hell out of one of y'all. So of course they changed it and said that I said I was gonna put my hand in my pocket to keep me knocking the hell out of them. So they expelled me from school. And I never went back. That was 2nd year, 10th grade. Like I said, I wasn't doing anything in school. I didn't understand. I mean, I could count and I could read some, but I wasn't the smartest person in the world. You know, basic math I could do. Fraction, I knew what 1/2 was. I knew what 1/4 was. I knew what 3/4 was. But the rest of that stuff didn't make no sense. Anywho, I left school and I started working, and I saw a thing on TV one day. It was talking about Apex Automotive Training School, and I decided, you know what, I want to go there. So I called the company, and they called my mom. They came, talked to my mom, and somehow she enrolled me into this school, right? And it was an automotive school. You know, I went there. I was the youngest person there, like 17 years old, and I got the highest grades. I mean, the highest grade. Every time we took a test, I got the highest score. And I wasn't even trying hard. They gave me this big, thick ass book. I used to throw the book in the back of my car when I leave school, and I didn't open the book up again until I got back to school. But yet, when we took a test, I always get at least 95%. It wouldn't be 100, but it would be at least 95%. But I realized I didn't think I was smart when it came to cars. I just knew I knew how to work on cars. But going to this school, I realized, damn, I am smart. But when it got hard, like when we got on the electronic stuff, the automatic transmissions, I didn't do so, hell, nobody did good in the automatic transmission part, to be honest with you. But I did have somewhat of an understanding on how I think we worked on a 350 transmission back then. So I did have somewhat of an understanding on how the transmission worked. But when it got to tune-ups and electronics, I started feeling like I was in high school again. At the same time, I was still in cars. I had met this guy named Terrence and fell in love with him. I wanted to be with him so bad that I stole cars to be with him. But you know what? I forgot this video is a part I want to tell you. The first time I stole something that was worth going to jail, you know, I never stole like candy or cookies from a store. I never did that before. Never done that before in my life. Never stole anything like that. You know, I might go to a friend's house or a cousin's house or whatever. I might steal a Hot Wheels car or something. I really didn't do that because my parents buy me pretty much whatever I want. But it always like the friends had cooler toys than what I have. So, but anyway, my first job was working at a McDonald's, Fulton Industrial, and I was 16 years old. And there was this guy who I don't really think he was cute, but I guess I liked him. He was slim. I don't remember his name. He and I went to the freezer to get something, and he decided he wanted to steal a case of, I think it was quarter pounder hamburger meat. So we ended up stealing 2 cases. We took 2 cases out the refrigerator and went and threw them into the woods. And then when we got off, we put them in the back of my mama's car, Cadillac, and left. And that crap scared the hell out of me. But I did it. Why did I do it? I guess peer pressure. It might have been a little bit of peer pressure in the fact that he turned me on a little bit. I think it was a little bit of both. You know, back then I was a freak. If a person said, hey, if a person turned me on and they wanted me to do something, now I wouldn't kill nobody. Now I draw the line. I wouldn't kill no damn body. But if a sexy guy wanted me to do something wrong, I might do it. Especially if he turned me on. But anyway, that was the first time I did something that could have sent me to jail. They never found out that we did it. I'm sure they was missing 2 cases, 2 big boxes of freaking quarter pounder hamburger meat. But in the case, that was the first time I did something, you know, thieving or whatever. You know, I said I was about 16 then. But anyway, that's pretty much how I grew up. I didn't finish automotive school. I was still in cars, driving cars to school, and I was selling radios, batteries, parts, and everything out the trunk of stolen cars. So the principal or administrator, whatever, came to me and said, if I drive any more stolen cars to school, he's gonna call the police on me. So I F school and quit going. And then I just started stealing cars. Well, I was already stealing cars, but now I was stealing cars full time. And I think I got actually, I don't even think I got a part-time job. Growing up, I always had a problem with my right ankle. If I stood too long, it would hurt real bad when I walked. So I never liked working. Not because I was lazy, but because of the ankle problem. But at some point I found out that if I delivered pieces, I didn't have to do a lot of standing and my ankle didn't bother me. So that's why I've always looked for driving jobs. And here I am now, 53 years old, and I have a driving job. But anyway, you have any questions and comments? I'm sure a bunch of stuff I left out, but have any more questions or ideas for videos, let me know.